Hello again, GLL back for yet another video. Now this video is mainly about Gears of War, but I'm going to touch on another couple of games before we start, and that is Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now if you remember, I've said many times that Call of Duty is going to outsell Battlefield. So all this hate, RIP COD spamming at E3 and all that shit is just a bunch of fucking idiots that can't comprehend, you know, that Call of Duty is clearly going to sell better than Battlefield. I think True Scottish Gamer did a video saying that Call of Duty had shit pre-orders and whatever months ago. But as you can see, looking at this fucking thing right here that I've got open, Battlefield 2 weeks away from launch, Call of Duty 4 weeks away from launch. Battlefield is behind Call of Duty. Go figure. So, once again, I am correct. Call of Duty will outsell Battlefield 1. Enjoy that, fanboys. Enjoy it, because I know I am enjoying it, because I like being fucking right, if you haven't noticed. So, but that's not the only thing that I'm doing this video for. That's just an observation that I've just literally made, and I thought I'd throw that in there. This video is about Gears of War 4. And it's also about Gears of War Judgment. That it seems to become a popular fucking thing for everybody to just hate the fuck out of. Oh, the worst game of all time. Oh, fucking Judgment. Blah. It's like the Halo Reach of Gears of War games. Everybody just loves to fucking hate it. Yet, once again, like Halo Reach, I think you'll find that Judgment is better than Gears of War 4, much like Reach was better than Halo 4, and of course, Halo 5. But let's take a quick look at VGChartz. So this video is primarily about numbers, okay? I'm going to get into the ins and outs of why Judgment is better than Gears of War 4 in other videos. But as of right now, this is just about pure, raw numbers, okay? The numbers that we've got on the net, the numbers that we know about, not numbers that are coming from Frank O'Connor's ass, okay? Actual, real, physical copy numbers right here. That's what we're looking at today. So what we've got here is Gears of War 4, 1 week away from launch, 201,000 pre-orders in the US of A, okay? Because US pre-order charts are all we have. Now you'd say, well, that looks pretty good. It's above Call of Duty. It's above Battlefield. So that's looking pretty good, you would say, right? Obviously, Gears of War is an exclusive to the Xbox. So it being high up on the chart there is pretty good. Obviously, Call of Duty and Battlefield and that will have more sales because it's all across all the systems and it's split down. So if you add all that shit up, it would be above Gears of War. And obviously, Call of Duty has another 4 weeks to go. So that's going to rise even further, one would imagine. So we're looking at Gears of War 4 primarily in this video. And if you look at that, you would say that is good for a Gears of War game. You would say that is a decent amount of pre-orders, right? To the untrained eye, to somebody who doesn't know what the past numbers were. But I'm going to show you what the past numbers were, and then you can tell me what you think, okay? So, first of all, let's look at Judgment's numbers, because everyone loves to hate fucking Judgment and fucking say it's the worst Gears of War game of all time. Well, if Gears of War Judgment is one of the worst Gears of War games of all time, that means that one of the worst games of all time is going to outsell this one, if we are to believe these numbers, right? Check this shit out. 1 week to launch, 359,000 pre-orders. That's 1 week to launch. That's exactly the same as this one. Okay, that's another 100,000-ish, 150,000-ish more number of pre-orders, right? Now let's put this into context, because everyone will say, oh, well, that doesn't prove anything. VGChartz is a pile of shit. Well, VGChartz is a pile of shit, but it's consistently a pile of shit, okay? Consistently, it will show a trend. These numbers might not ultimately be right, but they will be using the same way to calculate the numbers for each of these fucking games. Okay? So if this one says 5359 and this one says 201, then they've used the same data to calculate that each time they've calculated this data, which means this one is ahead according to their data. Doesn't mean their data is 100% right, but it looks like it's got more according to their data. So, as you can see, Judgment came out in March 2013. Now, why was that? Can we just think about this for a second? Why did Judgment come out in March? Well, it's because the Xbox One released in December that year or whatever, November. The Xbox One released November 22nd, 2013. Right? So, Judgment couldn't even come out during the holiday season. It didn't even get a proper run. Okay? This is coming out in March. Okay? And yet it still did better with pre-orders than Gears of War 4. Okay? So all this nonsense that you've got people saying that, oh, Gears of War 4 is reviving the franchise and all this, it's complete bullshit. Because we can look at the numbers. We can look at the numbers. We can say, we can't say these numbers are 100%, but what we can say is, regarding VGChartz, clearly, Judgment was way ahead. Okay? Judgment was way ahead. So we can, earlier on in the year, Judgment was actually doing not as good as Gears of War 4. I actually thought Gears of War 4 might pull it off and sell a little bit more than Judgment. But they haven't even managed that. They haven't even managed that by the looks of things. So that's just the raw numbers there, just to get you thinking. And like I said, this wasn't even in the holiday season. Now you might say, well, Titanfall, Battlefield, yeah, that's all well and good. Titanfall's not even on here. I mean, seriously. Titanfall is doing really poorly over here. Like I said it would, to be fair. I said it was going to struggle, but it's struggling even worse than Gears of War is. Which is, to be honest, should be expected because Titanfall gameplay is more similar to Battlefields and Call of Duties than it is to Gears of War. Titanfall is in an even more poor position than Gears was, but Gears, I feel, shouldn't have come out the same fucking month as these games. Maybe could have come out in, September or something like that to give it an extra month ahead of these, but, they haven't been able to do that for whatever reason. So as you can see, these are the raw numbers here. So if I use any raw numbers in any of my videos, this is where I get my fucking information. If anyone's got any other fucking numbers they want to send me, that's great. But often people don't. So I'm just using real data that I've got. Doesn't mean it's 100% accurate data, but it's real data. And as you can see, according to this data, Judgment was ahead. Not only in total number, but also in weekly change. So we can predict from that data that Gears of War 4 will likely not sell more than Judgment. It's very close, but I would suggest that it's going to be behind it. Now, on that fucking topic, let's look at all the Gears of War games and try to put this into context. Now, I haven't got the raw data up for Gears of War 3, but I know that had 1 million pre-orders. So it was way above Judgment, Gears of War 4. It was 1 million. You can look that up if you don't believe me. So that's US, just US. Now we can see that Gears of War 3 sold 4 million North America, 6.24 million total. Okay, so Gears of War 3 actually didn't sell as much as Gears of War 2, if you could actually believe that. I find that hard to believe, but it's very, very close. Gears of War 1 also 6 million mark. So all these first 3 Gears of War games sold 6 million. Okay? Now, bearing that in mind, what has changed about Gears of War, okay? A lot of people say it was the gameplay in Judgment, but I have a hunch that just maybe, the Season Pass and the microtransactions in Judgment played their part in why people don't buy these games anymore, which is why Gears of War 4, that has similar gameplay to Gears of War 3, albeit not as good, is also doing poorly. It's not just about the gameplay, it's about the actual business model. And the information that was coming out about Gears of War 4 basically was telling you there was going to be microtransactions in the game before you bought it, and maybe that's why the pre-orders came to a screeching halt and actually came behind Judgment in the end, because this information came out and it slowed them down. Now, that's possible, but no one really knows. These are just raw numbers. You can speculate, but that's what I think possibly could have happened. So, all this nonsense about no one liked Judgment because you could like fall off buildings and stuff, that might be true. But I can just as easily speculate it's to do with the microtransactions in the Season Pass and the lack of content. Because Judgment had a lack of characters and stuff in multiplayer, etc. That is going to piss off a lot of people and stuff. And, you know, maybe Gears of War's just run its course. It wasn't that big of a game to start with. It sold 6 million. It's not a Halo numbers. It's, you know, behind. Now, Judgment obviously took another hit because it was on the 360 the year the Xbox One was coming out, and everybody knew the Xbox One was coming out at this point. So there was no reason to go and buy Judgment because you were saving your money for the Xbox One at Christmas. That's what happened. So it took a hit for that. So what's Gears of War 4's excuse? The Xbox One is now out. What are they saving for? Are they saving for the PS4 Pro? Or are they saving for the Nintendo Switch? You know, we don't know. But what I can tell you right here is Gears of War 4, looking at the pre-order numbers for the US, is going to be behind Judgment. A game that was released in the March before the Xbox One released. So the franchise is beyond dead. Okay, beyond dead. Yet Gears of War fucking 4 has more playlists than Gears of War 3 did. A game that sold 6 million copies, had a higher population, and all the rest of it. Why? It's bad game management, bad game, everything. But people don't talk about that. Okay? If you've got 6 million player base when the game launches, to now, say, 1 million, 2 million tops, why in the fuck would you add more playlists than there is in the game that sold 6 million? Just baffles me. Now, because they're incompetent, that's the answer. The answer is the Coalition are incompetent. You know, there was some problems with Judgment regarding playlists as well. Judgment was not a perfect game. I never said it was. But the problem is that people demonize Judgment when they should be looking at what Gears of War 4 offers. Okay? There's no fucking point in bashing Judgment to make yourself feel better about Gears of War 4. Because Gears of War 4 is shit. It doesn't matter how good Judgment was. It doesn't matter if you think Judgment's shit. Because Gears of War 4 is fucking shit. That's the truth of the matter. That's the crust of the fucking argument that I'm trying to put forward here today. And this is the first part of it. Numbers. The numbers do not lie. The game has not sold as much as Judgment, looking at the numbers right now. And it may do. It may catch up. But even if it does, Ultimate Edition, a remaster of the original Gears of War, sold 3 million copies, according to this chart. I don't know how reliable that is because the European numbers seem a bit low for me. But to me, if those are accurate, then we're saying that a game that came out that's a 9-year-old game, re-release, sold 3 million copies, but Judgment and Gears of War 4 are not going to hit 3 million copies. Now, I can offer an explanation for why Ultimate might have done better, The Xbox One was newer at the time. They bought Gears of War. People who'd never played Gears of War before bought the game. And also, people that were big fans of Gears of War 1 back in the day bought the game. So, there you are. There's my VGChartz, a little bit of a rant there. Let me know what you think. But, you know, if people are trying to tell you that Gears of War 4 is this revival, they're living in dreamland. They're living in cloud cuckoo land. There's no point in trying to pretend that fucking Gears of War 4 is doing well, because it isn't. Just look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. It's not doing well. Unless you can come to me with some real numbers that prove that it is doing well, it's not doing well. Okay? Feel free to subscribe, guys. More videos on the way. See you later.